If you are a young mother or a mother of young children, you may not necessarily be a young person, but there is nothing better than to sit down with someone who's been there to get encouraged and to learn lessons from what they've learned. So in our Candid Conversation today, we're sitting down with Joyce and we're giving encouragement to those moms.
Well, I have 4 children, and of course now they're very far away from being young children. My baby is now 41, and my oldest son is 56, so if you can do any kind of math, that kind of tells you a little bit about how old I am. But I look back, and I was such a mess, emotionally, mentally. I mean, my daughter and I have talked about it, and she said, you know, with the way you were raised and what had happened to you, she said, it is amazing what a good mother you were. Mm. And I was. I mean, I was a good mother. And I know a lot of women that are pregnant, they're afraid that they're not going to be good moms. And, you know, I believe that God just, if he gives you a child, he gives you that ability to be a good mother. Now, yeah. I look back and there's things that I really wish I would have done differently. I never was much to play with my kids. I was more the responsible. I took good care of them. I made sure that their clothes were right and the food was good, and I made sure they had toys. But nobody really played with me when I was growing up, and there was not much fun in my house. Matter of fact, I remember when I was growing up getting in trouble for laughing. So I didn't place a lot of value on fun. I didn't read to my children. Nobody ever read to me, and I didn't even know to do that. And I wish with all my heart I would have read to them, because a couple of them just really don't have any love for reading at all. They have a difficult time doing it. And I think you can teach your children to love to read by reading to them. But for the moms that are struggling right now, and, you know, you can struggle if you have one child or if you have several. I mean, you almost always have a child that you love but you don't like. And
At least in some phase of their life, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like my oldest son was he had to be in control of everything. And I mean, that's even when he was in his playpen. I mean, it was like I felt like he was
out that way.
Never happy with me no matter what I did. And I didn't know what in the world was wrong. And of course, now I realize he just had a strong type A personality, and we just had a lot of friction because, to be honest, we were both the same way. And so we were fighting with each other all the time. And but now he runs our world missions. And so you will make it. I want to encourage you, no matter what kind of a day you're having today, you will make it. Don't try to do it on your own. Pray. Ask God to help you. I mean, if you can only manage 3 minutes or 5 minutes with the Lord in the morning before your kids get up, don't just try to make it on your own, but pray that God will help you. And one of the things that I do remember doing that I think was right, and I want to encourage people in, is when I was wrong, if I lost my temper and I yelled at my kids or whatever, when I was wrong, I would go back and tell them, Mommy was wrong. I shouldn't have done that. And I think that gives your children respect for you if you admit your mistakes to them.
It teaches them so much.
And but your kids grow up, and they grow up a lot faster than you think they do. And
I never used to believe that.
I know.
When your kids are little, you think, oh, no, it's not going quickly. Yeah. And yet now, with the same hindsight that you're talking about, it really does. It flies by.
And it amazes me that some people get really have problems when all their kids leave, and they have what they call the empty nest syndrome. You know, I just didn't have that problem. And I mean, I loved my kids, but it's another season in your life. It's a God thing. It's meant to be that way. And if you have a 2-year-old right now, that's a season. When they start to school, that's another season. Things don't stay the same. Things will change. And God never puts more on you than what you can bear, but with every temptation, he also provides the way out. And I just really want to encourage these moms that they're probably doing a lot better than what they may think they are. And
that's a big point.
Yeah.
Because we do often look back at the day and only see the mistakes. We don't always see the things that God was helping us to do right. And I think it is such a refreshing thing for young moms to listen to moms who now have adult children who say they turned out okay.
Right.
You know, it wasn't everything that I was afraid of. God took care of things that I couldn't. It's very reassuring.
I marvel all the time because my one daughter, my oldest daughter, Laura, that girl was so disorganized and so messy and forgetful, and she hated school, and I couldn't wait to get her out of school. I mean, she just despised it. She didn't get very good grades, and she wasn't very popular, and I mean, it was just on and on and on. And I mean, I actually wondered what was going to happen to the girl when she got away from home on her own, because she just was so messy. And now she, of course, is in her 50s, and she is like my number one helper. I don't know what in the world I would do without her. She does so many things for me and is extremely organized. And so the things that you think, my gosh, this kid's never going to change, I can tell you that they will change.
Yeah. What would you say to a mom right now who is dealing with her own issues? You know, you were still going through that healing process when you had your children. So we all have things in our own life, but we also have these other lives that we're responsible for.
Right.
What would you say to those moms to encourage them in as they're growing, God honors what they're doing?
Yeah, I mean, God knows where you're at. He understands where you're at. And when I started teaching the Word, I didn't know anything. I mean, I had to study really hard. And I would always study things I was having problems with. Like if I was having problems with being patient, I would study on patience, and then I would teach that to my little home Bible study that I had. And I worked my whole day around trying to have that time with God when my kids took their naps. And so any mother who really wants to spend time with God, you can find a way to do it if you really want to. And one of the things that I tell people is you'll pay a babysitter to go out to a movie. So how about paying a babysitter once in a while just to have half a day to spend with the Lord?
Yeah.
And you can't, we've all got problems. We've all got issues. And some people are trying to raise kids and they've maybe got some big issues in their life. And God's willing to heal you. He's the God of restoration. But you've got to spend time with Him, hear from Him, study His Word, know what it says. And a lot of people think, well, I just don't have time to do that. I can't do that because I've got these kids. I don't have time to get done what I'm doing now. But if you want to do it, God will show you a way that you can do it. And it is important. Ginger, when I started the ministry, I had 3 teenagers and a baby. And so I don't like to hear that I can't do anything because I've got kids. I mean, if you want to, you can do anything that you want to. I can do all things through Christ, who is my strength. And if God asks you to do something, He will make a way. He'll provide. He'll give you the grace to do it, and He'll provide what you need to do it. And you know, moms, when you make mistakes, it's not the end of the world. Now, there are parents who really are really bad parents, and they cause big problems with their kids. But most of those people probably aren't watching me right now. And even then, I believe that God can correct anything that needs to be corrected. But just, you know, single moms, I think about them, and, you know, maybe they're having to work a couple of jobs and it's hard and they're exhausted. And, you know, all I can tell you is this too will pass. It will come to an end. Your kids will grow up and they will leave home and they will be okay. And I know that a lot of people think, you know, well, that just can't happen. But all things are possible with God.
I think sometimes too, as parents, especially as moms, we feel guilty if we do something to take care of ourselves. If we do what you say and we're
Right.
spending that time in the Word. But there's nothing better that we can give our children
No.
than for us to be healthy and close to
Right.
the Lord.
That's very important, but then to do other just practical things for yourself. You know, if just getting a pedicure once every 2 weeks would really help you, then
And make you a better mom.
yeah, fine.
Yeah.
You know, you need to do some things for yourself. If you don't ever do anything for yourself, you end up just feeling used. You end up just feeling like everybody that comes near you wants something, and that there's nothing left of you to give to them. And you're not being selfish if you do things for yourself. You're not being selfish if you get a babysitter once in a while and just go take an afternoon and walk in the park.
Yeah.
Whatever you need, whatever will help you, there's nothing wrong with doing that. And I know some people, they don't have the money to get a babysitter. Trade off with somebody.
Yeah.
You know, find somebody else that's
Exactly. Let's
got
help
kids
each
and,
other.
you know, help them and trade with each other. I just keep wanting to ask you this question. You know, I'm always the one that's got all the problems here on the show, and so can you think of something that you did wrong with your kids when they were growing up, but everything still turned out okay?
Well, so many things. I mean, I think the biggest thing for me was and nobody knows how to be a mom, but I really had no idea how to be a mom. I felt very confident in my life, in every other area, but I thought, I don't have the motherhood gene. I am not gonna know how to do this. And so really, all those mistakes that I did make as I was trying to figure out work-life balance and how to be the kind of mom that I wanted to be and to lead them to the Lord and all these different things, God just took care of systematically.
And you have 2 great girls.
Oh, they're wonderful. They're the joy of my life, and their families and our families, where we have our issues. We all do. Everybody
Right.
has their issues, but we're close. We love to be together, and it really is God answering diligent prayer. And I
Right.
think if nothing else, what I did right was really pray
Right.
for our kids, for their spouses to be before we knew who they were,
Yeah.
for their children to be long before they had any, all of those things, because I knew I wasn't going to do everything perfectly. I wanted to give them into God's hands over and over. So I am very grateful that I did that.
That's really a good point. You know, pray for your children, and you'd be surprised if you pray for them, God can overcome a lot of mistakes that you make. And once again, God is the God of restoration and the God of healing. And even if you make some mistakes, you admit it. Don't, maybe the last thing I'd like to say is don't let the devil push you into that area of trying to be a perfect parent. If you're a perfectionist and you're trying to be a perfect parent, you're going to end up being a worse parent than if you would just lighten up a little bit and just take it one day at a time.
Yeah.
The only thing perfect is Jesus. And we're not going to manifest perfection until we're out of these bodies and we get with Him. And so don't put so much pressure on yourself. And when you do make mistakes, God is big enough to cover them. He's big enough
Amen. Yeah.
to take care of it. Don't make a mistake and then spend another 2 weeks feeling guilty about the mistake you made, because that's just going to weaken you to make more mistakes. And all I can tell you is I've been through this over and over. I've watched my kids go through it. I have 12 grandchildren now and 2 great-grandchildren and another one on the way. And so it just all turned out fine. And you couldn't have been a bigger mess than me. And so if God could do that with me, He can do it with anybody.
Yeah. You're going to make it. You're going to
Amen.
make it.
You're going to make it.
Thank you, Joyce.
You're welcome.